Good evening, I'm Kim Christensen.
And I'm Kyle Clark. Boulder police say that a man had a gun on CU's campus, searching for a woman who had a protection order against him.
They say 20-year-old Joshua Provenza died by suicide after an hours-long standoff.
Let's bring in 9 News reporter Rachel Krause on this. And Rachel, CU sent out alerts warning people to stay inside. Was not immediately clear why.
Yeah, initially people were told there was a large police presence and to avoid an area of campus or shelter in place if they were close by. It was more than an hour in that emergency alerts notified campus that police were attempting to take an armed man into custody. Campuses are required to notify people in emergencies, but experts say those requirements leave a lot of wiggle room for what those notifications look like and how effective they are.
Under the Clery Act, there are specific requirements for emergency notification.
Arthur Simmental is an emergency manager and former director of emergency management for the University of Colorado, Colorado Springs. Simmental says in an emergency, there are rules in the Clery Act for notifications that institutions like CU Boulder have to follow, like what's going on, what action people need to take, and where an incident is happening.
There is a lot of discretion given public safety agencies in general, and oftentimes we kind of see this national challenge where agencies will issue emergency alerts, and the quality of those emergency alerts vary greatly.
Issues with a lack of communication or detail can make a bad situation worse.
It's very concerning, especially as an emergency manager.
On Monday, police issued a shelter in place. Notifications from CU Boulder went out, 6 of them over a few hours, some with very limited information, frustrating and scaring many on campus. Notifications Simmental analyzed tonight.
The situation was very dynamic, so it's clear that they made immediate notification to campus. The real question I would say is, did all the people get them that were supposed to or that needed them, right? The students, the families, the other parts of the community that are connected to that campus.
Christine Mahoney with CU Boulder's Division of Public Safety says emergency alerts went out immediately, but says, quote, due to the fluid nature of the situation, details were limited and CU Boulder provided regular updates to keep the campus community informed and safe. Simmental says the university followed the rules, but says there's room to improve.
So there's always going to be lessons learned. In this case, establishing quicker crisis communications. We often see this lag, particularly in law enforcement incidents, where the communication is not as quick to the public, and that creates a lot of confusion, a lot of angst and frustration. So we definitely need to continue to improve.
Simmental says the Clery Act itself is in need of an update that could help to make these alert requirements more uniform and more effective in an emergency. Rachel Krause, 9 News.
Unseasonably warm weather stuck around today. Temperatures nearly reaching 70 degrees in Denver. Overnight cool front is expected to bring some changes along with some mountain snow. But Kathy, I mean, we were almost kind of like beyond spring today. Like it felt hot after some of the weather we've had lately.
Yeah, in southeastern Colorado, it was almost 80 degrees, which is just weird and wacky for late February. And you know when that happens that the other shoe's going to fall and cold and snow are back in the extended forecast. But tonight, we'll enjoy. It's still very mild out there. Temperatures in the 40s and 50s as that cool front is just now moving across the state. Gusty winds associated with that front all afternoon, still going strong up around Buckeye, Fort Collins, up around Dumont, Loveland Pass, winds to 50 miles per hour. But overnight, with the passage of that front, the wind should start to die down. Now, the moisture is fairly limited. We're tracking a few light snow showers for the mountains, no advisories for snow or travel. And for Denver, this will be a dry front. It will bring in a surge of cooler air. Temperatures tomorrow will be seasonal, back in the mid 40s, but only for one day, as we'll see those temperatures soar above average again on Thursday. So temperatures trending down into the 30s tonight. Weather headlines, we are tracking that front. Cooler weather coming tomorrow, some snow for the mountains, but when will Denver see the next round of snow? I've got that in the extended forecast coming up.
A dive team pulled the body of an ice fisherman from Cherry Creek Reservoir today. The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says 2 people saw a cooler bobbing in the water this afternoon when they spotted the 65-year-old man's body. Investigators believe that man was ice fishing because they pulled gear from the water near him. They don't know how long he was in the water. They're now reaching out to his family, and that's until they reach them, they won't release a name to the public. Tonight, we're learning more about a 50-year-old man killed in an avalanche on Berthoud Pass over the weekend.
9 News reporter Spencer Soisher talked with his family today.
He was a good mix of like creativity and a little bit of a lack of skills, but he made up for it with creativity.
Nathan Ginn left one last project.
But he just had this vision of a front deck.
Ginn didn't get to finish his deck. It's now his brother's responsibility.
That was the last screw.
Ginn's house is an adult playground. It's filled with his projects and passions like skateboarding.
Everything he did was an extension of skateboarding.
Those passions included powder surfing, riding down Berthoud Pass on a board with no bindings, just a leash. Unfortunately, that's how he died this past weekend, riding his board when he got caught up in an avalanche on Colorado Mines Peak, east of Berthoud Pass.
He did talk about, well, if he had to go out, that probably dying doing powder surfing would be his preference.
Ginn's family is reminded of his spirit at every turn.
That's all it ever was like, how do I keep just living, riding, and doing all this great stuff?
His DIY projects and artwork decorate the house. He taught art at Compass Montessori for more than a decade and loved getting to teach people new things.
Whenever he was on the mountain or in the river, he would say, "Oh, can I tell you something?"
Totally, yeah.
Can I give you a tip?
I've been watching you and I have a tip.
Ginn was just 50 years old, but his projects kept him a kid at heart.
It's kind of like if when we were 10 years old and you asked us, like, create the best adult life that you could think of. That's what he's done.
When all the snow melted in the summer, Nathan would use a similar board to river surf in Colorado. Compass Montessori School says he had an infectious grin and a natural ability to connect with others. Spencer Soisher, 9 News.
Black Canyon of the Gunnison National Park staff and the Montrose County Sheriff's Office are asking for the public's help finding this man who disappeared last month. Jordan Marsters traveled through Grand Junction on February 11th. He was in Montrose on the 12th, and then he vanished from the national park on the 13th. 31-year-olds from Denver. Marsters was driving a white Kia Fuente rental car with Texas plates.
Greeley police are looking for a shooter involved in a drive-by shooting that left a teenager hurt. Investigators say it happened on East Memorial Park on Saturday night. Officers found a 16-year-old girl in a driver's seat of a car with a gunshot wound to her calf. An investigation showed the shots came from a different car on Balsam Avenue. The department is now asking anyone with video footage of the surrounding neighborhood or information about this case to call the number on the screen. Today, Aurora police revealed they made 2 arrests in connection to a shooting outside Skate City earlier this month. They only released 1 booking photo, that of 18-year-old Jaden Martin. He is also charged with 8 counts of attempted first-degree murder, among other things. Martin remains in custody on a $1 million bond. The second person arrested is just 16 years old. He's facing similar charges. The shooting in the parking lot off East Girard Avenue happened February 8th. 2 teenagers were hurt. Both are expected to be okay.
Aurora police have repeatedly refused to release all of the body camera footage of the encounter between officers and Kylan Lewis, which ended with Lewis's shooting death. 9 News has now filed a lawsuit for that video with the hope of learning about what happened that day. Lewis was wanted on an arrest warrant for attempted murder when Aurora police surrounded him last May. Seconds after he got out of a car, one of the officers fired a single shot and killed the 37-year-old. Lewis had a cell phone in his hand. He did not have a gun. Aurora police have released 5 incomplete videos of the incident. Median Schaffner, a community activist, has repeatedly called for the release of all of the video.
All we want and all we're asking is to show what happened. Just show the video so that we as a community can make our own choices and the family can start their healing journey.
State law went into effect in 2023 requiring the release of body camera footage when there's a complaint of officer misconduct. 9 News Investigates has confirmed there were multiple complaints like that in this case. Today, the city of Aurora said the portions of the video they have released is all they believe that they must provide by law.
CBI is working to train more DNA analysts as it deals with a lengthy rape backlog. The agency released a new dashboard today. It shows there are over 1,400 sexual assault cases with an estimated turnaround of over 500 days. And their goal is to get that turnaround time down to 90 days. To do that, CBI says it will outsource 1,000 cases to private labs, thanks to funding approved by state lawmakers. It's also working to get more DNA scientists. Right now they have 16. Their goal is to get 31 by October of next year. CBI blames much of the backlog on Missy Woods, the former CBI analyst accused of manipulating data in over 1,000 cases during her 29-year career.
Bees are dying, and beekeepers in Colorado are concerned about federal firings impacting a lab that's investigating the issue. The Colorado State Beekeepers Association says there's been a significant loss in honeybee colonies across the country. They're trying to figure out why. Emergency samples are under review at a lab in Maryland. But the organization says that lab lost a critical employee in the federal findings. So they sent a letter to lawmakers at the state and federal levels concerned about this.
A third of your food at the grocery store, the produce section, depends on bees. We don't know how bad this could be or how long this could be an issue for us. And if we aren't getting those answers, then we're going to have to learn the hard way, which can be really devastating for, I would say, a critical agricultural industry.
There are a lot of hives that can't be checked on right now because of the cold weather, so we should know more about how widespread the problem is come spring.